how's it going everyone, and welcome to a collection video that I've been working on for quite some time. This is my full complete Xbox 360 game collection, and I'm telling you right now, this is going to be the largest collection for any single platform that I own to date. I have more games on Xbox 360 than I do on any other console that I own right now. And it's quite crazy. You know, I started really game collecting for the 360 back in 2012, 2013. Some of you who've been following me for that long remember when I did a video basically discussing whether or not I should trade in video games. And, you know, I got people from both sides of the fence sort of give me their thoughts, and ultimately I ended up keeping my games and really started focusing on game collecting then. I have acquired all the games I wanted for the 360, of which there's just over 170 games, I believe, I have here. And this goes all the way down to the floor pretty much. So it's absolutely crazy. Now, I'm going to go through these, you know, kind of one by one, but I'm not going to go into detail about my thoughts and everything like that. We would be here for probably 3 to 4 hours if that was the case. And I don't think that you guys want to sit here and watch a video for that long. So this is going to be a digestible video. I'm hopefully shooting for around 30 to 45 minutes, probably more around 45 minutes if I'm guessing correctly. And yeah, I'm just going to kind of go through these, similar if you've seen my PS4 and Xbox One collection. I'm going to show you the case. I'll give you brief, quick thoughts here and there. So if you want any of my more detailed thoughts on these games, maybe something that I didn't go into too much detail on, you can go ahead and put them in the comments. I would be happy to sort of explain my full undoctored thoughts in there. But anyway, we will get to this right now, and hope you guys are excited because I certainly am. This is pretty cool. Alright, so we're going to start from the top here. I've organized these in alphabetical order, except when it comes to the series in the games, in which they are in chronological order from the time that they were released onward. So we're going to start here with the first set of games. We got my James Bond games for the 360. So I got 007 Quantum of Solace, which I did a reminiscing video on, if you want to know my full thoughts on that. I'm going to have cards play in the top of this video whenever I sort of discuss some of these games, because some of these games I have done videos on. And then this is Bloodstone 007, which I really enjoyed, and 007 Legends. I do have GoldenEye 007 Reloaded on the PlayStation 3. Just to let you know where that is. Pretty cool. We got 50 Cent, Blood on the Sand. Yes, 50 Cent actually did a video game. In fact, he did 2 video games. This is the second one. There was one on the original PlayStation 2 and Xbox, which I haven't played, but yeah, pretty interesting. One of those obscure titles. Alan Wake. This was the first ever Remedy game that I played, and absolutely fell in love with it. Went back and played Max Payne 1 and 2. And, you know, of course, Rockstar picked up the Max Payne license for Max Payne 3, so enjoyed that one as well. But, yeah, a huge Remedy fan. Love all their games. Aliens vs. Predator. This is the 2010 FPS with, there's 3 campaigns where you get to play as the Alien, Predator, and the Marines, which is really cool. Haven't played it, but this game's expensive, man. You'd be paying around $30+ just for a used copy of this. For some reason, it's gone up in value tremendously. Alone in the Dark, this was the reboot in 2008, I believe. I heard it didn't do so well, but I haven't played it personally. So, we'll get to it eventually. You got Alpha Protocol, which I did play, and I think I did do a review for you guys way back in the day. I actually want to give this game another go because I never beat it the first time around, and actually didn't really enjoy it, but let's see. The Army of Two series. I actually really enjoyed this series. I played this back when it was brand new, back in the day. And, yeah, you know, I still like the first one better than the second one. The second one, they really improved the gameplay. But, you know, it was a much shorter game, much more action-packed. I just like the story and the pacing of the first game more than the 40th Day, its sequel. We have the Assassin's Creed series, at least the ones I have for consoles. Here I'm just going to pull them out here. So we got the first one, which I did play. Never beat it, though. I actually never liked the original Assassin's Creed, but it was updated to 4K on the Xbox One X, so I actually do want to try and play it again. Assassin's Creed 2, which is still, to this day, my favorite Assassin's Creed in the series. It's just, it did so much for this franchise. and really propelled it to be the big mega blockbuster that it is today. This is the sequel Brotherhood, which came out a year later, focusing again on the Ezio character. Pretty cool. And then Revelations, which basically ended the Ezio character and timeline and stuff like that, which I thought was decent as well. It's probably the weakest of the entire, Ezio trilogy, but still pretty good. There we go. And we got the Batman Arkham games up next. So we have Batman Arkham Asylum, which, the series, the game that started it all, really, and absolutely love this game. This, to me, is a timeless classic that you can go back to and play anytime. It's awesome. And then Arkham City, which just basically took the formula, really expanded upon that, really tightened up the controls. I still prefer the more linear approach of Arkham Asylum, if I'm being quite honest, but Arkham City was also just a tremendous game. Rocksteady did an amazing job with that license. Battlefield Bad Company, the first one, which I thought was okay. I wasn't really completely in love with this. I didn't play this at the time when it came out. I actually went back to play it after playing the incredible Bad Company 2, which was really the first major Battlefield game that I played, and was completely blown away. I got into the beta for this game and did videos back in the day on YouTube, and they got like over 10,000 views, and because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing, like, I was mostly being insulted by all these people, but yeah, that was way back in the day. The original Bayonetta. Man, I love this game. I love its sense of humor. It's got great action, great controls. I'm really happy that Nintendo picked up the license so that we actually got sequels, even though I haven't played Bayonetta 2, and God knows what's going on with Bayonetta 3, but still, just a great game. Oh, Binary Domain. Now, you guys know I keep encouraging you to play the Yakuza series. This game is a third-person shooter made by the guys behind the Yakuza games, and it's got one of the best narratives in the genre, in my opinion. Just an awesome, awesome game, very unique. Highly, highly recommend you guys try it out. Next up, we got the BioShock games. So I have the first original BioShock, which honestly was the sole reason I wanted a 360 to begin with. At the time, it was a 360 and PC exclusive, which is pretty cool. This is the original launch copy, which came with this cool slip cover, and just absolutely love the game. It's a timeless classic, one of my favorite games of all time. Of course, BioShock 2, which was made by a different studio. They improved on some of the gameplay elements, and it was a decent game. I think the guys who were behind this game would eventually go on to form their own studio called Arcane Productions, who make the Dishonored and Prey games that we know today. Alright, next up we have Black Site Area 51, which I haven't played. I am a huge alien nut. I just love the conspiracy surrounding this. I just find them so interesting. So having a FPS sort of take that twist on those conspiracies is just pretty interesting. So I haven't played it, but I'll try it out eventually. The original Borderlands. I tried playing this game twice, just really couldn't get into it. I even tried the second Borderlands, which everyone said was like the most amazing thing ever. Never got into it. I'm just not into the looter shooter games, but I would like to give it one more shot. I'll give it like one more chance. Eventually I'll go back and try to play it again. The Bourne Conspiracy. Now, in terms of movie license games at the time, this was actually a really decent one in my opinion. This is basically a remake of the first Bourne film in a video game form. Just got the cinematography right, the action's intense, it's got driving sections. I thought they did a really good job with that. I'll be covering it in a reminiscing video, hopefully sometime soon. Brothers in Arms, Hell's Highway. Never played any of the Brothers in Arms games, so don't really have much to say on this, but looks interesting. Got some squad-based action. Bulletstorm, the Epic Edition. I only wanted this game because it came with the Gears of War 3 beta, and then I discovered that there was actually a really badass game attached to this as well, and of course they remastered this game for the PS4 and Xbox One, which I did play. Bullet Witch. This is one of those launchier, obscure Xbox 360 titles I don't think a lot of people actually know or remember. I haven't played this game personally, but it just looks bizarre. You're playing as this weird, attractive witch. She has like a chain gun attached to something. You know, it looks like a guitar with a machine gun on it. I don't know. It looks really bizarre, but one of those launchier games. Burnout Revenge. Having this on Next Gen is pretty cool at the time, and I absolutely love the Burnout series. Been playing them all since the first one back in the day, so really excited to get to that. I have Burnout Paradise, by the way, on the PlayStation 3. Now I have my Call of Duty games, of which there's a lot, so bear with me here. I have all the Call of Duties released last generation on the Xbox 360. I'll start off with Call of Duty 2, of course. I haven't played this one. This is the only one in this series that I haven't played. Well, this and the first Call of Duty, so this is one that I do want to get to eventually, and it was a launch title for the 360. Call of Duty 3, this was the first Call of Duty I ever played, and never liked it. I actually thought this game was quite awful. And I wasn't going to play another Call of Duty game again, but then Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare came out a year after. Everyone and their mother was telling me to play this game, and man, they really outdone themselves with this game. You could still play this game today. It's fantastic. Of course, they remastered it on the new consoles. And then we have Call of Duty World at War, which really just upped the violence of this series tremendously. And, you know, I didn't feel like the gunplay was as tight or responsive as Modern Warfare, but still a great job. Modern Warfare 2, the big sequel that took it off, and really just, I think it really brought the series fully mainstream with Modern Warfare 2. Everyone was playing this at the time. Absolutely loved the game. The original Call of Duty Black Ops, which honestly is my favorite Call of Duty in the entire series. I just love the time period. I love the setting and just the whole narrative surrounding it. I really thought was interesting. Modern Warfare 3, which ended the campaign for the Modern Warfare storyline, and I thought it was really good in terms of the campaign, but the multiplayer, that's when things started getting really shallow for me. And then Black Ops 2, which I liked the campaign for it, but, you know, wasn't really so heavily into the multiplayer. It was an improvement over Modern Warfare 3's multiplayer, but yeah, that's about it. So, all the Call of Duty games on one platform, and yeah, there's quite a lot here. I would like to go back and replay some of them. And next up, we have the Call of Juarez series. So I'll start off with Call of Juarez Bound in Blood, which is the second game, because they made the first Call of Juarez, which I don't have in my collection. This is a Western game. I'm not really into Westerns, so that's why I didn't really focus on getting the first game at all. I'm going to try Bound in Blood, see if I like it, but I have played The Cartel, which is basically a modern take on the series in which you're dealing with the, you know, Mexican drug trades and the cartel and all that stuff. It's a decent game. I actually did some multiplayer videos on this back in the day that a lot of people seem to enjoy, oddly enough. It was just really bad multiplayer, too. Condemned, the Condemned series. You guys know I recently did a reminiscing video on the first game, Condemned Criminal Origins. Absolutely love this game. One of the best just horror games I've played in my entire life. It's fantastic. It still holds up today. Of course, they made a sequel called Condemned 2 Bloodshot, which I haven't played, and do want to get to eventually, because this looks awesome. So, love the series, love Monolith and what they're doing. Conflict Denied Ops, which I have not played personally. Again, one of those obscure shooter games. Actually, this Conflict series, I think, has been around for a little while, and they tried to reboot it, but it wasn't successful. The original Crackdown, which I did play before playing Crackdown 3. I must be the only person who actually didn't like this game, and yeah, I just thought it was kind of a shallow experience. I think back in the day when this game came out, if I played it, I probably would have liked it, but, you know, just the different time period in my life and what I like from games, so that's probably why. Crysis 2, which I was really looking forward to, really excited for, and I thought it was a really good game. I actually liked it despite it taking a more linear route. Let's see, we have Dante's Inferno, which I did do a review on back in the day, I believe. Never really liked the game, to be honest, from what I can remember, but I do want to give it one more shot because I only played it through once and never beat the game. Dark Sector. I remember this game from way back in the day. You know, this is just another example of why I love 7th Gen, is because even when you had very mediocre games like this, they still had an element of creativity to them with this whole glaive aspect. I mean, you don't see a lot of games trying to be creative anymore as much as just trying to copy the same formula that's successful. So that's something I do appreciate about these older games. The original Darkness, which I haven't played, I only played the Darkness 2. Everyone has told me that the original game is significantly better and much longer as well, so this is one that I do eventually want to get to. Dead Island, you guys know my thoughts on this. I was really disappointed about this leading up to its release, and just, it sucks, you know. I wish that they really focused on a single-player campaign. Of course, the studio behind this would go on to make one of the best games last generation, Dying Light, which is just awesome. Dead Space, the original Dead Space. Now, I have 2 and 3 on the PlayStation 3. The original is just a fantastic, fantastic, phenomenal game. I absolutely wish EA would revive this series, reboot it, or remake the original game again. It would just be so awesome to see with the next-gen visuals. Very cool. Dead to Rights Retribution. I haven't played this game, but you know, it's a third-person shooter where you have like this dog mechanic where you can you know, send your dog after enemies, and you know, it looks interesting. So we'll see how that is. Def Jam Icon. I remember playing a demo for this back in the day and kind of being blown away about the realistic visuals, because it was street fighting, but it was influenced by the music that was going on. It had like rap music, and it would change the environments. So pretty interesting. I know the Def Jam series has been around for a little while, but I think that was the last game in the series, to be honest. My Devil May Cry games, so I just have Devil May Cry 4, which I went back and played before playing Devil May Cry 5, and really enjoyed this game, actually. I think it still holds up well today. The gameplay's still fun. Graphics still look good. And then there's DMC Devil May Cry, which was the spin-off game by Ninja Theory. I know fans don't like this game at all, but quite honestly, I enjoyed the narrative of this game, and even the gameplay to some extent. I thought it was pretty decent. That's just me. Dead Rising 2, the first Dead Rising game I played, wasn't really for me. You know, I need like a narrative and a strong reason to go through the world, and this game's sort of just like, oh, just cause havoc and mess around, you know? So probably not the type of game for me. I never beat it, but I think I did a review on it back in the day, although I don't remember. Dead or Alive 4, a 360 launch game. I love the Dead or Alive series in terms of its just fighting mechanics and stuff. It's one of my favorite fighting game franchises out there. And, you know, this one's fun. It's a good launch title for the 360, you know, showed off the visuals and stuff. Pretty cool. Dragon's Dogma. This was a full-on RPG by Capcom. I never played it, but I remember it when it came out. A lot of people actually loved this game. I'm surprised that Capcom never made a sequel or anything, although I know it's been remastered on the new consoles and stuff. So hopefully one day we'll see the return of that game. Eat Lead, The Return of Matt Hazard. This thing was one of those more obscure games where they're kind of the whole game is basically a satire on the entire gaming industry, and it's pretty awesome. You know, you have the main character here who's essentially like the Duke Nukem in this universe, and it's pretty funny. But you know, from the videos I've seen, I actually never played the game myself, but always wanted to. The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim, the first Elder Scrolls game I played, I was blown away. Of course, you know, we're all tired of this game because Bethesda has just constantly re-released this game on basically every platform under the sun. So eventually, whenever we get Elder Scrolls VI, probably towards the end of this generation, I'm guessing, I'm really looking forward to that. A new game. Enslaved Odyssey to the West, another game by Ninja Theory. Excellent, excellent game. Actually really enjoyed the story, loved the platforming and the combat and stuff in the world. This would become sort of a template almost for the upcoming Horizon Zero Dawn at the time from Guerrilla Games. So, yeah, pretty cool, pretty great game. My Fallout games, we have Fallout 3, which is the first Fallout game I played, and still to this day my favorite, honestly. Absolutely love this game. It's tremendous, and Bethesda just outdid themselves with this game, in my opinion. And then Fallout New Vegas, which I know a lot of people actually prefer over Fallout 3, but I did not. I actually didn't care for this game as much as Fallout 3, probably because it's more of a Western style, you know, in terms of its world. It's more Western than Fallout 3, which is a little bit more post-apocalyptic. I mean, they're both post-apocalyptic, but in its themes, you know, I just felt like Fallout New Vegas is more of a Western than Fallout 3, which is more science fiction. Far Cry 2. Now, Ubisoft has taken down the servers for this game on PC, but I'm not sure if the console version is affected or what that entails. So, you know, this is the first Far Cry game I did play, but I never actually beat the game, and I do want to give it another shot eventually, because I actually really, really like Far Cry 2, despite its shortcomings. I actually thought it was a really good game. Now we have the Fear games, the Fear franchise. So we have the first one, Fear. I played this first on PC. I actually never played the 360 port, but wanted to get it on 360 just to have a physical copy of this game. This is one of the best first-person shooters of all time, in my opinion. Just tremendous controls, tremendous AI that still holds up today incredibly well. Of course, Fear 2 would be the next game, which I remember when this game came out, how big of a deal it was. Now, this game has... They infamously made the slipcover really tight on this game, at least if you bought the physical version of the game, because I think that they miscalculated or mismeasured the actual size of the game case. So if you actually buy the original launch copy of the game, it's incredibly difficult to get this on without damaging your case. So I have to be incredibly careful. Seriously, it's super tight. And then Fear 3, which wasn't made by Monolith, you know, they ended the series. I didn't care for this game as much. I think I did a playthrough of this game, though. It was more fast-paced than Fear 2, which I did like, but I still prefer the first game. The first game, to me, is just held up tremendously well. Another game that I really want Monolith to go back and remake, because seeing the first Fear remade on next-gen visuals would just be the most beautiful thing in the world. So maybe one day. My Forza games. So I don't have Forza 2, but I have Forza 3, Forza 4, and then Forza Horizon. The reason I don't have Forza 2 is because I actually didn't get started with the series until Forza 3. So, you know, I just felt to myself, okay, well, you know, might as well just get Forza 3 and collect basically from there. And then we have Forza Horizon 4, which was, I think, the last amazingly solid Forza game, excuse me, not Forza Horizon, Forza game that everyone absolutely loved. And then, of course, the first Horizon game, which I remember at the time, I was like, what the hell is this? This doesn't look like Forza at all. I saw people, like, you know, clubbing and night raiding and all this shit. Of course, it would become one of the best open-world racing games, you know, on the market today. You know, just amazing to see how much that series has come. And then Fracture. Now, I remember when this game came out, I really wanted it. I actually did play it and beat it through. Another mediocre game, unfortunately, but again, similar to like Dark Sector, where I said it's really cool how developers were still trying to be creative. You can actually mess with the terrain in this game, so you can actually build hills, you know, build the ditches and stuff in the ground for cover and use it for your combat advantage. It's one of those really interesting games from a gameplay standpoint, but the execution just wasn't there, in my opinion. Frontlines, Fuel of War. I remember this game being kind of popular because it was one of the first open-world battle simulators. And I haven't actually played it myself, but, you know, I know of it. Fuel. Speaking of open worlds, I think this game had the largest open world for any game ever made for a long time, up until fairly recently with some of the bigger Assassin's Creed games and whatnot. The world for this game is absolutely huge. 14,000 kilometers squared is what they're saying on the back of this case, which is just tremendous. Haven't played it myself, though. Full Auto. One of those combat racing games, a launch year title for the 360. Never played it myself, but looks interesting. I guess if you're into like Twisted Metal and stuff like that, you'd probably like this game. Fuse. This is sort of the low point of Insomniac games, in my opinion. I was actually really looking forward to this game because I liked the concept, and it looked to have like this animated art style. And they would kind of change the game. It's more co-op focused. It's very generic. Not really a big fan of it, to be completely honest. But luckily, Insomniac Games bounced back from that and made amazing games. I have my Gears of War games next, so I'll start off with the first Gears of War here. Absolutely love this game, man. I remember going to my friend's house and playing it, just being absolutely blown away by the visuals, playing multiplayer, split screen, and all that stuff. That was back when the 360 first came out. And of course, Gears of War 2, I have the collector's edition here, which, check this out. This is an art book that came with it. It's still sealed. I never opened this art book, which is pretty interesting. But, yeah, you know, I like Gears of War 2 a lot. I think it really improved on some of the core mechanics, made things control a lot more fluid and stuff like that. And, yeah, a much awesome campaign and awesome multiplayer on top of that. And, of course, I have Gears of War 3, which really ended the trilogy of games. Of course, Microsoft would resurrect this game again to bring about a new trilogy, which honestly, even though I was sort of underwhelmed by Gears 4, Gears of War 5 I actually thought was a really, really good game. They really improved the formula with that. So we'll see what Gears of War 6 is like. Next up we have Ghostbusters, the video game. I think they just remastered this a couple years ago for the PS4 and Xbox One, but I haven't played the original myself. Third-person, you know, game in the Ghostbusters universe. And then we have the Godfather games next. So I have the first one, The Godfather, the game, which I haven't played myself. Again, another launch year Xbox 360 game. So I actually want to see what that's like. And then Godfather 2, which I remember hearing at the time, was very glitchy. So I actually don't know if I try to play this game again, how the state of it will be. will actually see. But yeah, have those. We have Grand Theft Auto 4, which, you know, is the first Grand Theft Auto game I played. I tried for years to get my parents to buy me Grand Theft Auto back when I was in middle school, and yeah, they were smart enough to actually read the ratings on boxes. But I absolutely love Grand Theft Auto 4. It is my favorite Grand Theft Auto series. I only played Grand Theft Auto 5, I guess, with that, but I like the more gritty nature of that game, personally. The Grid series, we have the first Grid, which I did play back in the day. Really like this game. Very difficult, but I really, really enjoyed it. And then Grid 2, which I think made things a lot more accessible, a lot more easier, refined the controls and stuff, but still an awesome game. I think I did a review on Grid 2, although I'm not exactly sure. And then we have Halo, my whole entire Halo collection for the 360. So we have Halo 3, which are taking the servers offline for this game at the end of the year. Do not worry, I'm going to go back to all these Halo games on 360 and play the multiplayer for all of them. And I'm going to do a video similar to how I did with Uncharted 2, by the way, if you're wondering. Halo 3 ODST. Just 2 discs there, because you have the campaign, then you got the actual full multiplayer with all the DLC for Halo 3. Halo Reach. I did a ton of multiplayer videos on Halo Reach back in the day. And this is the Combat Evolved Anniversary Edition for the 360, which, you know, if you have the Master Chief Collection, you basically have this game. But they did remaster the first Halo for the 360 right before they released Halo 4, which I felt was really underwhelming in terms of its campaign. Really, I felt the Halo 3 campaign was underwhelming as well, but I actually never beat the Halo 3 campaign. One of those, for some reason, one of those campaigns I just quit on every single time I started playing, so I do want to go back to it and try it out eventually. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed the Halo 4 multiplayer a lot. I felt they did a great job with that. Hitman Blood Money. Now, the first Hitman game I ever played was Hitman Absolution, but I heard Blood Money was one of the height of the series that a lot of people say you should definitely play. So I have the 360 version here. I think this was another launch year title for the 360. So pretty cool. We got Homefront, the first game, which I did enjoy despite its shortcomings. This game was heavily advertised and was supposed to be like on a comparable level to, like, you know, Call of Duty and Battlefield, and it wasn't that at all. But I enjoyed the multiplayer for it. The campaign's pretty fun. Injustice: Gods Among Us. Love this game. I think that what NetherRealm did with the campaign for this game is just fantastic. Tells a great story. I always said that the Injustice games are a better Justice League movie than the Justice League movie that came out. Of course, now we got the Snyder Cut, which I actually haven't watched myself yet. Clive Barker's Jericho, which I haven't played myself. One of those horror FPS games. So we'll see how it is. I've heard it's pretty decent, though. Just Cause 2, which I did play back in the day. Now, this is pretty cool. You'll see, this is a sealed copy. I actually went to purchase this game in GameStop when collecting games for my 360, and I handed this game to, you know, the guy at the counter. My GameStop was closing at the time, so they had this massive sale. The guy goes into this drawer, pulls out a brand new copy of Just Cause 2, literally with the seal on it, the official Microsoft seal, sells it to me for the same used price, which I think was $7 or something like that. So this is a brand new game. I mean, this game was probably sitting in that dude's shelf for like 10 years. You know, it's absolutely nuts how long that game was just sitting there. But I have a brand new copy of Just Cause 2, which honestly to me was the height of the series. They all just kind of felt underwhelming after that. The Kane and Lynch games, speaking of IO Interactive, the Kane and Lynch games, so we have the first game, which I haven't played myself. I remember this being heavily criticized back when it came out. And then Kane and Lynch 2, which I did play. You know, I enjoyed the grittiness of the campaign. It's nothing really particularly special, but it's a very hardcore, violent, bloody, you know, criminal narrative. So it's interesting. I'm going to play through these games again. And then we have Peter Jackson's King Kong, the official game based off the movie. I remember when the movie came out all those years ago. I actually watched it somewhat recently, and it does not hold up in my opinion. It's kind of like boring and drags on. They actually remastered this game on the Xbox One X to be native 4K, so I actually wanted to try this game. I did play it back when it was new, but I never actually beat the game, and I was always scared because, I don't know, I was really young at the time, so I remember being very scared to play through portions of that game. The original Left 4 Dead, which I actually haven't played myself, sorry to say. You know, one of those games that it just sort of missed my radar at the time. I don't think I had a lot of friends. I think when I got a 360 it was much later in the life cycle, so a lot of people moved on from games like this. But, you know, you can still play those, and I think that one is also 4K on the Xbox One X. Legendary. This is an interesting FPS. Haven't played it myself, but it's made by the guys who did Turning Point Fall of Liberty. I think that they made this game quickly after they botched the release of Turning Point, and this one was also glitchy and kind of killed the studio. So take that with what you will. Lost Odyssey. Now, this is one that really slipped my radar up until a couple years ago when people were, I heard from people that actually, you know, try out this game, that it was actually pretty interesting. This was Microsoft really attempting to, you know, get into the Japanese market and appeal to the Japanese audience. This game actually ships on 4 discs. There are 4 discs behind here, literally just stuffed in here, which is absolutely nuts. It's a massive game, and I heard the visuals are still really, really incredible as well. It's very cinematic. It's a 360 launch game, so one of those games I do want to try out and play. I don't know how I'm going to like the combat of it, but an interesting part of history. Lost Planet, Extreme Condition, the first Lost Planet game. Never played it myself. This is another 360 exclusive. I think they did port this to PC eventually, though. Mafia 2, the first official Mafia game I played. I remember being so excited for this game to come out. Absolutely love the campaign. You know, it's one of those linear games, but, you know, the Mafia series has always sort of been like that. They tried to really outdo themselves, I guess, with Mafia 3 and give you all these options, but it just made it really, really repetitive and boring. So I hope that the next Mafia game really sort of sticks with that more linear, story-focused narrative. And, you know, if you're going to have side stuff, but don't do it in the Mafia 3 form. That game was kind of a chore to almost get through, but I still like that game still. My Mass Effect games, by the way. So the Legendary Edition's coming out next month. I'm super stoked for that. We got the original Mass Effect game, which I went back to play after I first played Mass Effect 2, because I didn't start playing this game right away. I actually got into this series with Mass Effect 2, absolutely fell in love with Mass Effect 2. It's still one of the best games of all time, in my opinion. And then I went and played Mass Effect 1, replayed Mass Effect 2 with my save file, and then played Mass Effect 3. You know, which, despite its shortcomings, they didn't really do a good job, I think, really pulling in all of your choices. And, you know, they said it was going to really affect the ending, you know, all that bullshit when this game came out. You know, I still felt it was a decent game enough, and improved on some of the mechanics. It's still fun, but Mass Effect 2 remains the height of the franchise for me, in my opinion. Right, we got Marvel vs. Capcom 3, The Fate of Two Worlds. Always loved the Marvel vs. Capcom games in terms of the fighting game style. This one's more animated, it's more fast-paced. I think I did a video review of this, although I don't remember. I think I may have done online multiplayer, actually. So, I'll have to take a look and see. My Medal of Honor games. We have Medal of Honor Airborne, which was an earlier title. I haven't played this myself, personally. And then we have Medal of Honor, the reboot, back in 2010. They, you know, I think they really tried to... It's just a bit weird, you know. I think EA really kind of missed the mark on this one. I don't think they realized how to advertise this game next to Battlefield at the same time, because they're very similar in terms of them going in with a modern warfare style. You know, I personally think they probably should have stuck with World War II with the Medal of Honor games, or made something cool like Alternate History. I don't know. But yeah, it's one of those weird games where I just think EA doesn't know what to do with the Medal of Honor series, and that's probably why it's still dead. Mercenaries 2, World in Flames. This is the first Mercenary games I played. For me, this was Grand Theft Auto before I was old enough to play Grand Theft Auto. I absolutely had a blast playing this game back in the day, just blowing everything up. I love the sense of humor. That's one I do want to go back to and play eventually. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, made by Platinum Games, who just took the Raiden character and really made an incredible, you know, action-based game off of it, hack and slash, whatever you call it. So I haven't played this through myself, but I'm actually really excited to. I remember playing the demo back in the day, and it was pretty crazy. There's just a lot of action in that game, as our typical Platinum games usually are. Metro 2033, the original game. Never got into this one, man. I tried this out back when it was new, and just couldn't really get into it. It was very stiff. I didn't like the way the gunplay felt. It just felt very unpolished, honestly, in my opinion. But then Last Light came out, and that blew me away. Of course, if you played the remaster for 2033, they took the gameplay of Last Light and did that, and it plays much better. Midnight Club Los Angeles. Loved the Midnight Club series from way back on 6th Gen, and really loved Midnight Club Los Angeles. This game was the first ever review I ever done on this channel. It was a terrible review. I actually want to go back and do a reminiscing video of this sometime, because I need to redeem myself. It was a really bad review I did, but I was just getting started on YouTube, and I was just posting something up, and yeah, but this is such a special game for me for that particular reason, and it's a great game as well. I really enjoyed Midnight Club Los Angeles. My Need for Speed games, which I have every Need for Speed for the 7th generation, by the way, on one platform. So I'll start off with these two because the other ones are down here. We have Most Wanted, which was a launch title for the 360. This one I haven't played myself. I know everyone says it was the height of the franchise, and yeah, I haven't played it myself, so I actually do want to eventually. Need for Speed Carbon, which I did play back in the day. Really enjoyed it, actually. I remember really liking this game. And then Need for Speed kind of went in a different direction. Here, let me put these back and grab the other ones. There's a lot of games here. A lot of games. Need for Speed Pro Street, which was more of a track racing game. I don't think I played this one, although I might have played like a demo back in the day. I do remember it when it came out, though. And then, of course, Need for Speed Undercover, which I actually haven't played either. At least I don't think so. Missed out on that. Shift, I did play. The original Need for Speed Shift. And I actually did like this game. I did feel it was pretty cool. Pretty interesting. And then my personal favorite Need for Speed of the 7th generation, the reboot of Hot Pursuit. And this is very, very arcadey game, but just absolutely fun, absolutely hectic. It's a game that you can easily jump into and play for 5 minutes and just have a blast, and they actually remastered that for the PS4 and Xbox One as well. And then we have Shift 2 Unleashed, which I didn't like at all. I think I did a review on this game, and I kind of, ripped it a new asshole. I really did not like this game whatsoever. I would actually have to play it again to see if my opinions actually changed since all that time. Need for Speed The Run, which went in a different direction. I like this game for what it was. It's essentially the modern take on Cruisin' USA, if you remember that game from the 90s. And then Need for Speed Most Wanted, the reboot of Most Wanted, which was okay. Obviously they didn't hit the heights of the original Most Wanted, and I know a lot of Need for Speed fans prefer that this game never existed, but it was relatively pretty decent when you just get down to it. Alright, we're almost done here. We have Ninja Gaiden 2. Haven't played this game, but it's been upgraded to 4K on the Xbox One X. Got this nice slip cover. So here's the full game. I think this was a 360 exclusive, but eventually this would make its way onto PS3 with Ninja Gaiden Sigma being the new moniker of it. So let's put this back in here. Next up we have Valve's Orange Box, which just includes Half-Life, Portal, and Team Fortress 2. I played Half-Life 2, I played Portal, haven't played Team Fortress 2 though. So, interesting. I missed the Portal franchise, man. Perfect Dark Zero, a launch title for the 360. I have not played it myself, but it's been upgraded to 4K for the Xbox One X, which so I would actually like to play it on there and see how it looks and plays. I know a lot of people don't particularly like this game for whatever reason, although when I play it, I'll find out for myself. I'm actually really happy that Microsoft is bringing back the Perfect Dark franchise. Really excited about that. Speaking of classic shooters, we got Prey, the original Prey. Man, I was so excited for Prey 2. I just had to play the first game. At the time, it was Prey 2. And I actually really enjoyed this game. It's pretty weird, pretty obscure, but one of those, again, very interesting cross-gen, type of titles. I say cross-gen even though it was only on PC and Xbox 360, but it's just one of those really interesting games. I like the original Prey. Project Gotham Racing, excuse me, at least the 360 version, so I have PGR3 as well as PGR4. I just did a reminiscing video on PGR3, which I actually really enjoyed, and was surprised to find that it was an arcade racer. I thought this was more of a simulation series, but it is not. So I haven't played PGR4 yet, but I do want to eventually. Of course, this series is now dead and instead replaced by the Forza games from Microsoft. Next up, we have Prince of Persia, the reboot of the franchise back in 2008. It was a long time ago. So, never played this myself. I think they were actually remastering the first Prince of Persia game, or Sands of Time, one of those games from the 6th generation. They're remastering for the new consoles, but it's been delayed indefinitely, I think. The original prototype, I love this game. I really think it's fantastic. It's a lot of fun. I'd actually like to go back and replay it. I have Prototype 2 on the PlayStation 3, but the first one is still my favorite in the franchise. So, a lot of fun. Who remembers back in the day when it was Prototype versus Infamous? Like, a lot of people were making comparisons because both of these games were superhero games back in the day, and they weren't anything alike, to be honest. Quake 4, a launch title for the 360. Never played a Quake game, so can't really comment much on it, but this looks cool. Comes with 2 discs. I think it comes with the original. Yeah, it says Quake 2 is on the 2nd disc, as well as the making of Quake 4. So, pretty cool that they give you the classic game on another disc. It's pretty nice, and yeah, I would actually like to go back and actually, well, experience that game for the first time. That'd be pretty cool. Rage from id Software. I actually enjoyed this game. You guys know I did a reminiscing video on it a few years back, and because I just recently replayed it. 3 discs on the 360, and the most depressing thing in the world is in this case. I will never get over this. This is the most depressing thing. If you're too young to even know what this is, go look up right now Prey 2 gameplay on YouTube, and be prepared to just be annoyed and pissed at Bethesda for canceling that. I just wish they could have made that happen. It looked like the best game in a while. It looked really, really awesome. Alright, enough of that. Let's get to Red Dead Redemption, which I did replay before Red Dead Redemption 2 came out on the on the Xbox One X, excuse me, in native 4K. God, it looks tremendous in 4K. And honestly, I didn't like this game when it first came out. I know, but I don't like westerns. That was the thing. I never liked westerns. But after playing it a second time on the Xbox One X in 4K, I really, really loved this game. I could see why easily a lot of people really, really enjoyed it. Pretty interesting. The Red Faction games for the Xbox 360, so I have Red Faction Guerrilla, which honestly was the best one at that time. They had this sequel called Red Faction Armageddon, which, you know, this was an open world race. This was an open world game where you can, you know, destroy environments, drive around on Mars. This was a linear third-person shooter. Like, why did you go this route? It's just weird to me that they decided to make this game, which was an open world game, they decided to make a sequel to it that was linear and basically got rid of all the elements that made it good in the first place. So I didn't like Armageddon at all, but one of those games I would actually have to go back and replay and see how that, see if my opinion changes on that. Alright, and we got my Resident Evil games. We got Resident Evil 5 as well as Resident Evil Revelations. So I played Resident Evil 5. Technically, Resident Evil 5 is the first Resident Evil game that I played. You know, I never actually beat this game, to be honest, but I would actually like to try and play it again to see if my opinion changes, because I always got bored of the game like halfway through. I just never could actually play through it, but I'd like to try it again. Revelations, this was a port of an original Nintendo 3DS game, I believe it was. They just ported this to the consoles on, you know, at the time the Wii U, the PS3, and the 360, so that's all it is. I played Revelations 2 and really enjoyed it, so I'd actually like to see how the first version of the first game is. I heard it was one of the better Resident Evils of that time. The Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Dark Athena. Man, I really want to get to this soon because this game looks like it's right up my alley. This was made by the guys who did the Darkness games, and pretty cool. If you buy this version of the game, just the standard version on 360 or PS3, you also get the remaster for Escape the Butcher Bay on the disc as well. So that was a original Xbox only title back in the day. So I haven't played any of those, but I really, really want to. It just looked really, really cool, man. The Saboteur, Oh, games are falling, that's right. The Saboteur, this would be the last game from Pandemic Studios, the guys behind the Mercenaries franchise. Just sad to see these guys go. I never played this game myself, but it looks really, really cool, very creative. You're in France, I believe, and you know, it's got this film noir setting where you're kind of, the game turns black and white if you're like undercover or something like that. I'm not really sure. I want to get to it eventually, though. Saints Row the Third, the first and last really Saints Row game that I honestly would play. Although never say never, I guess. I didn't like this game at all. I just felt that it was trying to really be the next Grand Theft Auto, and I know that Saints Row is more of a comedic take on that type of open world gameplay. Like it's very different from Grand Theft Auto in that sense, but I just didn't care for Saints Row 3. Of course, they remastered it for the new consoles as well. Section 8. Remember when this game came out, everyone was playing the multiplayer for it heavily. So, never played it myself, but I heard it does have a single-player campaign, although I heard nothing about it. I think this game is actually unplayable right now. Shadowrun. This was a multiplayer-only title. If I might, maybe it has bots. I'm not really sure. I never played it myself. I'm not really sure why I bought it. I don't know, man. You might be able to still play the game, but I thought they took off the servers for that game a little while ago. Silent Hill Homecoming, the only Silent Hill game I have for the 360 and PS3. I heard that this is back when the series was kind of going downhill, so I'm kind of embarrassed to say, but I never played a Silent Hill game before. I know, but you know, keep in mind that, you know, these games came out when I was like 7 years old or whatever. So, you know, it was kind of tough for me to actually get into these games and have my parents actually purchase these games for me. Singularity, love this game. Really the last game that would be made by Raven Studios before they're now relegated to doing multiplayer and helping out with Call of Duty now, which is really kind of sad and depressing because I thought they did a really good job with Singularity. Kind of reminds me of BioShock, but it's a little bit more action-oriented. And it's just a really cool game, man. One of those really, really cool games. Of course, now Raven's just working on Call of Duty games, you know, helping out the other studios with Call of Duty. It's kind of sad to see. The Skate games. So I only have Skate 1 and Skate 2. I decided not to get Skate 3, but they're bringing Skate back, which is really, really exciting, man. This was back when, I think what really helped this game out is because Tony Hawk was kind of going, you know, way down in terms of the franchise. That franchise was starting to die off. And so EA came through with Skate. You know, back in these times, the skateboarding games were extremely popular, and yeah, just really, it was one of those games where even if you weren't into skateboarding like myself, like you could still have a lot of fun with these. So, but you had to be around during that era. I don't know if kids today would necessarily find the skate games as impactful or enjoyable. It's very different. Sonic the Hedgehog from 2006. Never played this myself, but I heard it's one of the most horrible games ever. Like, really, really bad, really, really glitchy. So, yeah, I want to see how that actually is. I wonder after all these years if it's still as bad as it was back in the day. Spec Ops: The Line, one of the most just incredibly compelling games I've played in just a while. And, man, what an incredible campaign. Really, it shows you the true horrors of war, the true impact it has on the soldiers and on the people. It's just really incredible. And, you know, it's a shame we never got another Spec Ops game. I really think that this studio could have done something incredible, but I'm happy that they really took a chance with Spec Ops: The Line, and they really delivered on that. I got my Spider-Man games for the 360, so I have Spider-Man 3, the game that's based on the film, which I heard was quite bad, but you know, I was a huge fan. I played the original Spider-Man and I played Spider-Man 2, so you know, I was really looking forward to Spider-Man 3. Shattered Dimensions. This was, in my opinion, the best Spider-Man game to release during the 7th generation. It's a more linear game, which is really interesting about it. It's level by level based linear style, but the level design and just the amount of variety in gameplay is just tremendous. It's actually really shocking. Then we had, you know, this game, Edge of Tomorrow. I almost forgot because it's actually quite a forgettable game. It's really, really bad, very boring. I think I did a review on this, and I think I did a review on Shattered Dimensions as well. Yeah, it's not really a good game in all honesty. And then The Amazing Spider-Man, based off of the new film, which I felt was, the game was better than the actual film in my opinion. The game's actually really, really good. And, you know, I enjoyed it. I actually thought they did a really good job with this game. And they took some, you know, inspiration from the Rocksteady games and stuff like that, and just crafted something really, really interesting and really cool. So, yeah, see how that goes. Alright, Split Seconds, one of my favorite arcade racer games from the last generation. Tremendous game, lots of fun, big explosions. It's like Michael Bay got together with like the developers of Need for Speed, and this is kind of the game that you get. It's really, really crazy. Alright everyone, we're on to the last row here. We're almost done. It's been absolutely crazy. We have my Star Wars games from the last generation, so these are the Force Unleashed series. Now, I only played Force Unleashed 2, which I didn't like at all. I think I did a review on it, and I was really disappointed with Force Unleashed 2. But everyone says that the original Force Unleashed is actually a tremendous game. I think this is upgraded to 4K on the Xbox One X as well. So just awesome, just tremendous. I actually do want to play through this game and see how good it really is. But yeah, this sequel, I remember playing it and was really disappointed. I may have done a review on this, actually, back in the day. It's getting hard to reach around here. John Woo presents Stranglehold. Now, this was sort of one of those Max Payne-style games, of course, being from the legendary film director John Woo. So, pretty cool. You know, it's interesting. This game was actually recently re-released, PC remastered, but they never actually remastered this game for consoles. It's one of those really kind of, you know, first couple years 7th gen titles. It's an interesting game, very action heavy. I remember shooting people in the balls, and it goes into slow motion, so you see the bullets, and you can just see people's like reaction. It was pretty funny at the time. Street Fighter 4, which really was the last great Street Fighter in my opinion. Really, really loved Street Fighter 4. Played it a ton back in the day. Of course, Street Fighter 5, just in my opinion, was really a big letdown. And it's still a PlayStation 4 exclusive, actually. I hope Capcom, you know, now that Capcom's really on the rise again, I hope they really, you know, do something incredible with Street Fighter 6. Okay, next up we got one of my favorite racing series of all time, Test Drive Unlimited. This is the first game, and I remember playing this back in the day, and I was completely blown away. I never played a racing game like this, and still to this day, I hardly find a racing game that has given me the same sense of scale, and just the lifestyle elements of this game are incredible. I am so happy, guys, because they actually are bringing this game back. They're actually developing a new Test Drive Unlimited, if you haven't heard. It's by an independent studio of a bunch of people who worked on the original games. Absolutely love this game. If you don't know what Test Drive Unlimited is, I mean, honestly, it's like Forza Horizon, right? Like an open world racing game, but you're on Hawaii. I think you're in Prague in this game as well. No, it's Ibiza, excuse me. You're in these, you know, you're on these islands essentially. You have the entire, it's a 1-to-1 scale of the entire island, very realistic. But it's not just a racing game. You also get to buy houses, you get to customize your avatar. It's basically a lifestyle / racing game. It's a really, really cool series, and I'm really excited that they're bringing that back. It's one of my favorite game franchises ever. Definitely going to do a reminiscing video on those. Terminator Salvation. I remember playing this game back in the day, and yeah, I don't remember what I really thought about it. I would need to play this game again to really understand my true thoughts on it. But yeah, one of those, again, movie license games back at the time. I actually liked Terminator Salvation, the movie. That was the one with Christian Bale and stuff. I actually did enjoy that film, but yeah, I don't remember much from playing the game back in the day. Time Shift, again, one of those interesting early 7th gen FPSs where a lot of people were trying to find, I guess, their identity and stuff like that. So this thing has a cool element where you can actually mess around with the time, and you can go to the past and go to the future, I think it's like, and there's different environments. Pretty interesting. And gosh, I got the Tom Clancy games. So I'll start off with the Ghost Recon games. We'll move on from there. So Ghost Recon, Advanced Warfighter, and then Advanced Warfighter 2, as well as Future Soldier. Now, they're actually taking the online elements of Future Soldier offline later this year, so I am planning to do a reminiscing video on this game later on this year. I actually think I did multiplayer videos for you guys back in the day when this came out. Now, I played Advanced Warfighter 2, and I remember liking it, but I never really got that far in it. I remember being I remember it being kind of challenging back in the day, but I would need to play it through again. And I never played through the first Advanced Warfighter. Now, I think you can actually play these games in 60 FPS on the Xbox One X, just because the frame rate's unlocked or something like that. So I'd actually like to see how this game plays on the Xbox One X. So put these back in order. But yeah, you know, so expect a reminiscing video for Future Soldier later this year, as well as the Tom Clancy Rainbow Six games, because they are taking the online servers for these games offline at the end of the year. So it's pretty sad to see these games go. I remember playing the sequel, Rainbow Six Vegas 2, but I never played the original one. And I don't even know if I played the campaign of Rainbow Six Vegas 2. I may have only played the multiplayer. It was so long ago that I don't really remember, but yeah, these are definitely games I want to go back and play. I'm not into Rainbow Six Siege. You know, I just feel like that game's a shell of what the Rainbow Six series was always about. And I know a lot of people are into the multiplayer, and that's fine, but you know, I just really wish Ubisoft would... I wish Ubisoft gave us Patriots. You know, that's what I really wish, but I just really want a single-player campaign again. And what I really want more than anything is the return of Splinter Cell, the Tom Clancy Splinter Cell franchise, because I love this series to death. I haven't played Double Agent myself, but I have heard some really positive things about this. Pretty cool. But I have played Conviction as well as Blacklist. They remastered all these games, by the way, including Double Agent, on the Xbox One X, so you can actually play these games in native 4K if you have that console, which is just awesome. So, love all these games, and I just wish... I wish Ubisoft would bring this franchise back, but I'm also very scared... There's a second disc there. Oh, yeah, second disc. I'm also very scared that Ubisoft is going to bring them back and fucking ruin them like they did with Ghost Recon and you know, Rainbow Six. Make it always online or make it open world. It's like, I don't need an open world Splinter Cell game. Just give me a fun, level-by-level based game. Take inspiration from IO's latest Hitman games. You know, I don't need a fucking open world stealth game. I don't. It's like Ubisoft's games are so formulaic, and I feel like that's the reason they haven't brought back the Splinter Cell games, is because they haven't figured out a way to kind of really monetize and create a game based around their open world formula. I don't know. My Tomb Raider games, so we have Tomb Raider Legend, my personal favorite Tomb Raider game of all time. Absolutely love this game. I might be a little bit biased because this was the first Tomb Raider game I played, admittedly. But I love this game. This game's like an action-based movie. It's a lot of fun. It's the classic Lara Croft character. Absolutely love it. We have Tomb Raider Anniversary, which was the remake of the original Tomb Raider for the 360. I want to do a reminiscing video on this entire trilogy, just because I love the original Crystal Dynamics trilogy so much. And then we got Tomb Raider Underworld, which I think I did a review of back in the day. And yeah, you know, I feel like this game kind of... You know, they tried to make it super realistic and give you a lot of control, but the animations and just the whole game kind of felt wonky. You know, I think Legends still plays great today. This is one of the most smoothest playing Tomb Raider games and platformers I've played in a long time. But still, you know, I think all these games are a lot of fun. I always love the Tomb Raider games from Crystal Dynamics. Alright, we got Too Human next, which was one of those 360 360 exclusive games that was heavily hyped up. I don't even know if this game is really necessarily my cup of tea. I'm not really sure. Just because I looked at the gameplay, it looks a little bit odd. But this was given to me by a friend, so I do actually want to try it out and see how it is for myself. Next up, we have Turning Point Fall of Liberty, which is infamously known as one of the worst games ever released last generation. I haven't played it myself, but I remember being so into it at the time because I love the concept of it, about, you know, the U.S. being invaded by, you know, the Nazi regime and all this type of stuff. It looked really, really cool from a narrative standpoint, but I guess the execution was just really awful. And then a franchise that I really hope would return today, Turok. I'm a huge dinosaur fan. I love dinosaurs. I want to tell you guys something. Could you imagine a dinosaur video game like Turok? Like, imagine Turok, the first-person shooter elements, but imagine having these horror elements, like almost like Alien Isolation. You know, where you have to sneak around and, you know, you have barely any resources left. A dinosaur horror game in the realm or in the vein of Alien Isolation would be one of the most incredible things ever. And no one's fucking doing it. Dinosaur games today are Ark. Really? and freaking that new game coming out that is also a co-op multiplayer game for next gen. I want a single player hardcore like horror or FPS action shooting based dinosaur game. I really want the Turok franchise to return because I absolutely love this game. It's just a lot of fun, but man, it's just sad, you know. I really, really want a horror-based dinosaur game. I hope someone will do it eventually. Wet by Bethesda Studios, another game that tried to take the formula of Max Payne's gunplay, but this is interesting because they kind of got like a film, I'm not really sure what you kind of call it. It's kind of like that Pulp Fiction, kind of bloody style to it. There's a film style for it, a particular name that it's called. I just can't remember that right now, but yeah, I never beat this game actually myself. Don't really remember what I think of it, so something I would need to definitely go back and replay, find out for myself again. Vin Diesel, Wheelman. Man, this game is boring as hell. One of these really... Okay, again, speaking of 7th Gen and creativity, the whole concept of hijacking cars, jumping from one car to the next, that Sleeping Dogs would eventually use in their gameplay, it came from this game. This was the original game behind the hijacking mechanic. In fact, I think there was supposed to be a movie for this game, and then the movie got canceled, and the game came out, and it was absolutely horrible. So, yeah, an interesting game, absolutely. The last game, here we are, people. Wolfenstein from 2009, the first Wolfenstein game I technically played, and really enjoyed this game. This is just one of those fun FPSs with a cool, you know, power mechanic, and you know, one of those games I would absolutely like to play through again. It's just a lot of fun, man. So yeah, absolutely enjoyed the Wolfenstein 2009 game. That is it. We just went through this entire catalog of 360 games. I said there was over 170 games. I think any of you who are keeping count, you can let me know in the comments, but wow. It has taken me about 8 or 9 years to actually build this collection. It is quite a lot. As you can see, I have played through a good chunk of them myself from way back in the day, but I actually would like to go through and play through a lot of them because for me, at least personally, a lot of these older games I missed very early on in my childhood because I was younger, you know, and my parents... Again, I had parents who were actually parents who were smart enough to read ratings on the boxes, and they were pretty adamant about making sure that I was not playing something that wasn't appropriate for my age at the time. At the same time, you know, just to be able to build a collection like this is just a tremendous feat, and I'm really appreciative of just the friends who have given me games, as well as the people who have let me know which games I should definitely keep an eye out for. And this is pretty cool, you know. I'm definitely going to go back and play through these and really experience them again, and these are going to come in the form of reminiscing videos that I like to do for you guys on my channel and whatnot. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this collection video. If there's any more thoughts that you want me to explain about any of these games here, put them in the comments. I'm happy to talk with you guys there, and we will go on from there. So thank you all very much for sticking in here with me. It's been quite a long time, and hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.